Hi everyone, welcome to the first ever podcast slash YouTube video by RandomActofKpop. My name is Travis. This is Jace. Um, I've been into K-pop for a little while. Kind of fell in love with Twice and got pulled in by the best girls. So, um, Jace and I will start just like kind of talking about um, how we got into K-pop and like who we're in, like kind of groups we're into, before we get into talking about what we're really here for. Produce 48 finale conversation. We kind of have our own opinions about what happened and what should happen in the future, so we'll just kind of go over that shortly. But for me, like I said, I was actually watching a Twitch stream one day, and the streamer I was watching had Twice as Likey as a donation sound, and I just couldn't get it out of my head because it was just really catchy. Kind of started looking stuff up and fell into the what I like to call the K-pop rabbit hole. um, Favorite groups include Twice, Fromis 9, Dreamcatcher, kind of a girl group snob. What about you, Jace?
So I actually picked up K-pop a long time ago and then fell out of it. So um, I was looking through the League of Legends what the dances are referencing to, and one of the Ari's was Run Double Girls' Generation Run Double Run. I was like, I didn't know what that was, and one of the comments was like, somebody's obviously a K-pop fan in the Riot dev team, and I was like, I don't know what K-pop is, and I looked that up, and I got into it when I was in high school, but I was really the only one in my school who really enjoyed it, and so it kind of made me fall out of it. And then when 21 came out with Crush, I got back into I got into them for a little bit, fell out of it again, and then once Travis picked up K-pop, I had somebody to be interested in K-pop with. Yeah, and I'm still into 21. I listen to a lot of their songs all the time. I listen to a lot of Blackpink, Red Velvet. I follow Tiffany on her solo career, and yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the general stuff that he listens to too. Just because I hear it all the time and I pick up little, small songs here and there.
I'm always playing stuff around the house. So we'll just kind of start off our conversation at the finale. We've been watching Produce 48 the whole season. We watch it together every week, and sometimes we watch it separately and then come together and watch it again when it's subbed, just because we can't wait to see what happens. So the first thing we're going to talk about is out of the top 20 girls, kind of who we think should have, who would have made the best compilation of the talent that was left after the top 20 cut. So, I mean, for me, I think, we both agree that Sakura was going to make the group the whole time.
Sakura and Wanyang were both going to make the group.
So it was no matter
100%.
what, they were kind of going to make it. And
Yeah.
I think that they both have their merits for being in the group, talent-wise, and, especially Wanyang with their visuals.
Mm-hmm. And they both do both concepts well.
Yeah.
If they want to do Girl Crush, they can do Girl Crush.
I was really surprised with Sakura when she did.
Oh, yeah. She came out
I couldn't believe
swinging with that Blackpink song.
So, I mean, for me, those two, and then Lee Chae-yeon, my favorite. I've been a fan of her since 16. I was rooting for her the whole time. So she was definitely part of my final compilation. She's the best trainee dancer, I think, that was available in Korea. And then I had Ga-eun, who, our experienced idol, who's bringing the leadership, bringing leadership to the group, and experience, and just that solid platform that the other girls could develop around. Kind of fell in love with Shirmo Miru. Her eyes just get me every time. I think that she's got one of the best gazes in the show. Yabuki Nako, she's too cute to not have in the group. Honda Hitomi is the same thing, but Hitomi is a fantastic dancer. I think she's really underrated. She could definitely be part of a top end dance line in a K-pop group. Kwon Eunbi, same thing. She's really an all-around trainee. She can do anything you need her to. We saw her rap. She's been a main vocal, and she's a main dancer quality kind of trainee too.
And she had never rapped before, and she picked up the rap segment of Rumor pretty well.
Yeah, you could see how well she'd been trained. So On Yujin, I think, was the next obvious choice. Just kind of an all-around trainee, kind of the same way as Eunbi, but just younger and can be developed the way you need her to be to fit into a group. Choi Yena, I think, before the last few episodes, she was just the variety star, and the way I look at her is like she's kind of like Dayoon of Twice, where she can do a lot of things for the group. She can sing and dance and rap a little bit, but her main thing is she's like the energy, the variety star. She kind of gets on those shows and promotes your group for you. And then start talking about vocals. Gotta have some main vocals. So I had Jo Yuri, because I've known her since watching Idol School, from a 9 fan. Definitely main vocal quality. And then Kim Chaewon kind of won me over in her like duo vocal challenges with Yuri, and they sound really great together when they're kind of hitting the notes together.
God, scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, so I mean that's like my best 12 out of the top 20. And I think that group had a really solid vocal line, good leadership, great dance line. Their main dance line would be fantastic.
Yeah. I mainly agree with yours, but for me, honestly, I could have done without Yujin and Chaewon. I would have put Chaewon and Gaewon in. Because, I don't know, I just think K1's like, she just has a lot of potential, and she's like not the best trainee, especially not the best one that made it in the top 20. She's probably the worst trainee that made it in the top 20. But I still think that like watching her in like different scenarios, because she doesn't really show a lot of emotion, I just think like I want more time to see her break out of her shell, and plus she does an okay job on stage. She hasn't screwed up anything major. It didn't seem like she was solid in Boombaya, and nobody was confident in that performance except Chaewon.
Yeah, she won a lot of points when she was willing to rap. It's a tough part, rapping Jenny's part.
And then I like Chaewon a lot, not because of the Hyeewon Chaewon, but more like she's solid vocals, and she can rap, especially because she looks the part for the rapper. So that's. Yeah. But I don't know. For me, it was just like those two could be swapped out. I mean, Yujin and Chaewon are really solid, but I just thought Chaewon and Hyeewon would add more diversity and more like storylines to the group, make it a little more interesting. I don't know.
Sure. So I mean that's just our opinion. So on the next thing we want to talk about would be our debut evaluation performances. So I guess we'll talk about We Together first. As usual, since season 2, they've kind of decided center, and center is really important for the debut evaluations because the live votes are worth 7 votes, and the center gets a lot of camera time. So for We Together, Chaeyeon was chosen as center. I was very surprised, one, that she went for it because she hadn't gone for it the entire season.
Well, technically they all went for it.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm surprised that she got voted in, honestly, like as center, because there were a lot of like cute girl. Nako was in that group and Wonyoung was in that group. There were some more like cuteness.
Right. There was some high powered talent in that group, and of course you're gonna have that in the top
20. Yes.
But I think that since the girls chose it themselves, they were kind of able, like in the evaluation videos, to see, okay, like this is what she can bring, and since like maybe it has something to do with part distribution in the lines, where maybe she could hit a note that Wonyoung couldn't, or something like that.
Especially because Chaeyoung is definitely the most stable out of all the girls, except for maybe Karen.
Yeah, she's one of the most stable vocals for sure, especially when she's dancing and moving around. So yeah, performance was great as usual. I think the girls that were still in the competition definitely worked really hard on it for the preparation time that they had. The next one we'll talk about, the English name is Crush on You, and they chose their center too, and I was very shocked by the choice.
I mean, I was shocked too. Yena coming out and doing that song as the center.
I
couldn't believe
so good.
She got picked but I mean, I can't believe it because like he never saw it, but like when I saw her, it was like she's super cute outside of like off stage, but like when she gets on stage, she's just like full of swag and she just gets out there and kills it every time.
Yeah, the outfits were great for that song. And I thought that the part distribution was a little more fair than We Together. I think that they kind of trusted the girls a little more, and I actually liked the song a lot better too. I think it was produced better and just a better overall song. So, I mean, maybe it was a better performance. I didn't think the dance was as intense.
No.
Yeah, so it's kind of give and take. And the other song they performed was called Dream in English, and it was a ballad. I'm a sucker for those ballad type songs, those emotional ones that just kind of eat away at your heart. I loved it. I thought Park Hae-yoon was killing it, that song. You could hear the whole time. She was by far probably the best vocalist still on the show.
All the vocalists
didn't really get a chance to show it for sure.
Yeah. Which is too bad, but
yeah. But so the center positions very important. I think it was most important for Chaeyoung because she hadn't been center at all for the whole show, and for the centers since season 2 they've always made the group, and it's a big vote getter for them. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. I mean, but it's just because I'm biased.
Yeah, like I was super proud that Yena came out and was center. That was like insane.
My favorite thing about the Yena performance was those ridiculous, the ridiculous collar. That fit her really well. So we'll move on to our opinions on the top 12. I think for me, I'm generally happy with the group that was chosen. While I think Haewon isn't really ready to be an idol, and that she kind of needs maybe another year of training before she's confident enough to like be an idol and like be in front of the fans. But really, almost everyone in my preferred top 12 made it. The only other one that made it that I didn't have in was Minju, and I totally understand. I think that she's like a great visual, and she's underrated as a performer. She can sing and she dances fairly well. She learns quickly. We saw a scene where Chaeyoung went over and helped her learn the little hip move, and she picked it up like right away once Chaeyoung went over and showed her how to do it and kind of explained it in a different way. Some people just learn differently, so maybe it just takes a different wording for her to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Haewon was definitely gonna make it. It kind of surprised me how low she was because of how much people liked her.
Yeah,
but
she was really popular.
Because of the whole Manami and all those clips of them together, a lot of that blew up on the internet. Oh my god. But I could see Minju because a lot of people like, how cutesy she is and how innocent. And I mean, it's not like she'd ever screwed anything up really bad, like, or said anything. Like, I was really surprised that Yoojin made it in after people were blowing up on her.
Yeah, the Starship fan base really came through for Yoojin, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They really did.
Yeah, I was when she started dropping, I thought that was gonna be it for her.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, she had that controversial comment that I think was just taken out of context.
It was just taken out of context, but you can easily see how you could easily see how it was like, okay,
yeah,
that
I mean,
might be you being a little too cocky, but
you can't say that you're disappointed in falling, even if you really are disappointed because you feel like you did something wrong,
especially
right?
in like a fan voting, because it's like you're saying that you're disappointed in, like if you just say you're disappointed and not like disappointed in yourself for not showing it, because all she said was that she was just disappointed. It can come off as like you're disappointed in the fans for not voting.
I think a lot of that is just like a lack of experience on how to express herself, because she's just so young. But yeah, I think it was just taken out of context. I think that the chosen group is definitely very strong vocally. Their main vocal line of Yuri and Chaewon is going to be fantastic, and then you've got your secondary vocals like Eunbi, Chaeyeon, Nako. Like, they are super strong vocally. They can probably perform any song that any producer will throw at them. They can hit any notes they need to with any tone. So yeah, I'm very happy with, like, especially the vocal line, and that's really important to the Korean public. They really kind of respect that in the group.
I mean, the only thing that I'm worried about is like Wonyoung. She's really young. You know, she has like, she looks like she has a hard time when she's set against, like, when obstacles pop up that she can't really get over. I mean, I think the other girls will help her, especially like Eunbi being older, 10 years older than her.
Yeah.
But she kind of broke down once in the
when she had to design the choreo by herself.
When it was like she had to overcome something,
and she ended up doing it. It was really hard for her. And if you think about it, like, she's young. She hasn't, like, maybe reached that point in her development as like a dancer. But I think that, one, she won't have to do that as much, and two, she has some older members who can kind of guide her. And being the center is really hard. She's going to get a lot of screen time, but I think that there are people in this group that can kind of help her learn how to deal with it. I think if she can get close to Sakura, it would be incredibly helpful to her, because that's the one person in the group that can help her learn how to be a center and kind of do it right.
Oh, man.
So, outside of the vocal line, I think that the dance line in this group is just outstanding. Chaeyeon, Eunbi, and Hitomi, like, you can do all kinds of fun choreo with this group, and even Wonyoung is a really great dancer.
Both the Starship girls, though.
Yujin too.
That they can dance.
They're good dancers too. They have a lot of flexibility with choreo in this group for sure. I think that the limitation is probably Nako, just because she's kind of short. and one of the big things in dance is, like, you want to have big range of motion with long limbs, and Nako's just going to struggle with that kind of thing. But I think that she'll always stand out in the group because she's, so adorably cute and short. And I think, hopefully, the J line of this group can kind of get their Korean settled in a little better than it is now. I think that they're nervous and don't trust themselves speaking Korean, which is understandable.
A lot of them have said that, like, Korean is a little hard for them, and they have to use, like, a lot of notes and stuff. So.
Right. But I think when they do go on variety shows, I think that the J line can be really helpful. They have
so much variety experience.
Yeah, a ton of experience from AKB, and I think that's one of, like, the strong points of having, like, this mesh. Well, I would have liked to have a few more Japanese trainees, maybe, just to even it out. The public voted for what they wanted, so I think that the biggest bone people have to pick with the group is Gaon not making it. And I know that you were really upset about it when it happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if she. One, I think that she gave up too much in the performances. She was more willing to let other people shine, rather than putting herself in the spotlight, which is important because you need to be seen by the cameras to get votes. And I think, secondly, her big problem was she had a really hard time being cute.
Yeah.
At least on stage. Like,
and then she wasn't cute enough on stage, especially, and then she was like sexier than the other girls when she needed to tone it down.
Right. Yeah, I think that was her problem. It's like, if you watch her personality, like, if you watch her V Live with Eugen,
she's just so naturally cute.
She's just a naturally cute person.
But when she gets on stage, like, she just changes into a different person.
I think that's
but it's harder for her to control. But
ingrained in her from after school, because they were a girl crush concept group. Then she had to be sexy, and Pledis was always telling her, "You're not sexy enough to be in after school." So I think that was just kind of eating away at her. Unfortunately, I think it would have been really great to have her just for leadership and experience. I think she might have struggled with future concepts.
Yeah, I mean, and then Unvi is just as old as her.
Yeah.
And has been through about the same thing. Obviously not. Well, she did. I don't remember. I thought Unvi, she was either going to debut or
I think she was going to and didn't.
Yeah,
or she did and they kind of
did one.
it.
I think maybe it was like they were either going to, like they had the song ready, and then they just didn't end up debuting, or they did debut the one song and then just disbanded right away.
Right. It's pretty rare for trainees to be that old. Usually they either have their shot at debut and don't make it, or so it's
like she
kind
was
of
saying, like
situation.
towards the end it was her last shot.
Yeah,
because of her age.
It probably was. But now that she's in, she might get put in another group after. We'll see. I think that the next thing to talk about is like how Mnet influences voters.
Yeah.
So, like Mnet, obviously, because they're owned by CJNM, they're going to try and make the group what they want it to be. And they're going to try to influence voters to vote for, the members they want to see who maybe have a certain skill or fit a certain mold of what they're looking for. And if you really want to see, go and look at the center position like tryout thing they did before the debut evaluation. And if you notice who's in the second row, they were girls who were on the edge but ended up making it in the final group. I think
like Sakura was always in the back. But
I think one of them, it was Chaewon and Eugen.
Eugen was always like right up there. She was either behind the center or she was like to the left.
Yeah,
to
if
the
you
side.
watch it, they were always in the front. And I think it's the little things that producers for Mnet were doing that were kind of like that influences voters. I don't think that they're rigging the system. I don't think that they're doing anything like that. I just think that they're doing what they have to do. One, to make a successful group because they don't want meme votes or anything like that. I'm not saying that any member is a meme vote or any member in any of the previous other groups have been meme votes. I'm just saying.
I don't know if Haewon's a meme. I don't think. Okay.
No, I don't think she.
In the general concept, I don't think she's a meme vote. I just thought it was like the niche because of her.
She had a niche.
Her screen time and what she showed with Minami.
Yeah.
That like really got the crowd going for her, but.
Yeah, I don't think that either of us really think that Mnet is like rearranging votes or anything. I think that they're just manipulating camera time in the best interest of the final product, which happens to be a girl group. So on to Eyes One Promotions. I think it'll be interesting to see what the contracts look like, whether they have exclusivity or not with the AKB members.
It's looking like it. I don't know.
I know that
it
the
depends on
one did it.
Yeah, it depends on how. I mean, I feel like it should be, but I know Sakura's concerned like about everything she does.
Yeah, I think if they want to have a successful group, You need to have the exclusivity. We saw this with IOI
Mm-hmm.
when they had to release a subunit within their first year of existence. And while What a Man is a great song, and we really appreciate Chunga choreographing a whole song, we would have liked to have more full group comebacks, at least for me, because I'm a big fan.
But yeah, I mean, well, the only concern is like for the AKB members is that Sakura, being as popular as she is, that she's really concerned about how she's gonna lose her Japanese fan base because of how AKB works, like with the fans, how sometimes they just move on from if an idol leaves.
Yeah.
Or takes a break. And then the other person, I mean, I don't think Nako's concerned since she's like middle of the pack popularity, but I know Hitomi is really worried about it because of how she's just starting to get a little fame going right now.
She finished 83rd in the general election in her first year participating, which is really good, and she's very young, so she had a lot of room to grow in the AKB system. I think it's probably more time for Sakura to do something like this because she's kind of reaching the end of what she can accomplish in AKB. And I think that the fans are definitely different than most fans who like idol groups, because they're loyal to their group. Like, they're loyal to HKT, or they're loyal to AKB or MNB. That's what they like, and if their favorite girl leaves, they just find another one and buy her cover of the album.
It's not like you find like your favorite group, like in Korea,
Right.
you find your favorite group, you find your favorite girl, and then you
pretty
pretty much follow them. Like,
yeah.
I follow Tiffany still after she left.
You find your
Girls'
favorite,
Generation.
you follow them through their career, you support them however you can. I think it's just different. Hopefully they have some carryover. I think that the K-pop fan base in Japan has grown a lot. I mean, we can see that with the K-pop
like when
groups
they
going
when
over.
they went over for the handshake event, like a lot of people were ready to
Right.
celebrate.
Yeah, and I think that we're seeing like a growth in Korean groups in Japan right now. I think G-Friend's doing fairly well. They just released a new Japanese single. Seems to be doing fairly well. Blackpink did very well over there, and of course Twice is selling boatloads of records in Japan. BDZ releases tomorrow, of the day of filming this, and we'll see how many it sells. But yeah, I think that that's
it's already charted 8 out of 10 of the top 10.
Yeah, so I think that's
Insane.
that's the thing, is the Korean music fan base is growing, and we'll see. There should be some carryover from the fans of AKB, and you would think, since it's only kind of a temporary group, then they think they might be coming back. Maybe they stick around more than if they were just leaving.
It's kind of a long temporary though, isn't it? Isn't it going to be like 2 to 3 years? 2
I
years?
think it's
Maybe
going to be,
towards more
it's
3 years?
probably going to be 1.5 years exclusivity, according to the stuff we're seeing, like reports on the internet, which don't trust any of that nonsense. And then it'll probably be a 2.5 year group, which is about what 101 is getting. So we'll kind of see what happens. I think it's hard to say where it goes. But we'll probably get reality show like we've gotten with IOI and 101 fairly soon, probably the start of October, and then we'll get either a Japan mini or a single, or a Korean mini or single at the end of October, early November, which should be really interesting because there's going to be some other major girl groups operating in Korea during that time.
Boy.
So we'll see how the sales go. I think
It's already brutal already. It's going to get real fierce.
yeah, and I think when we're talking about success level, we'll come to that later, but I have my opinions on where they might end up.
Well, it also depends on what song they put out first.
Right.
If it's more like...
It's really dependent.
If it's closer to energetic than it is to Dream Girls.
Yeah.
Dream Girls will be so... Oh no.
Dream Girls.
I
Crush.
don't even want to think about...
Crush should have been the title track. I'll say this to my grave. Crush was the real title track of that album. All right. moving on. I think song production is really important for this group's success. I have concerns about Pledis handling their production. If they have some of their self-producing idols in-house assist, I'll feel a little more comfortable. If Woozy works on a song, it's going to be great. We all know that that's the truth. If Pledis as a whole is just using their standard producers, I think it could be very questionable. They don't have the best track record producing songs, and I think that's why their most successful idol groups are self-producing. So we'll kind of see what happens. I actually have been really happy with the Japan stuff that CEO of AKB, or the main producer, has been putting out for these groups. Really like the debut evaluation.
I think actually AKB writes the songs.
Yeah, I really like that debut evaluation song. I think it should be on the album.
Yeah, honestly, they if they keep that style up, like you said, it'll be pretty entertaining.
It's good.
And
That's
it'll be pretty good competition for the rest of the groups
entry into the J-pop world. I think because it sounds like a J-pop song, but it has really great performance value too, and I think that's where the disconnect. Yeah, it has the Korean performance style along with the J-pop sound, and I think that's what this group is more looking for in their Japan releases. Kind of the same way that Twice has attacked the Japan market. So recent news is IZ*ONE is moved into Fromus 9's old dorm above Pledis headquarters. If you haven't watched any of the Fromus 9 stuff, like Meeting Fromus 9 or whatever their reality show was, that dorm is too small for 9 people, and they're shoving 12 into it. So I'm slightly concerned on how that's going to work out, and I don't know. I'm pretty unhappy about it. I think that some of these girls, like Sakura especially, is going to walk in and be like, I could buy a bigger apartment than this. Like, it's like it's a nice dorm. It's really nice. I think it's just too small for 12 girls.
They've already settled in a little bit. From what I've heard is like Minju and Yoonjun are together.
Yeah, some of them have already moved in. We'll see how it goes. I think that we'll get a glimpse of it. Hopefully it's not a one-on-one situation where one-on-one was sleeping on the same dorm beds that IOI had, and their legs were hanging off from the knees because the beds weren't long enough.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's a better situation.
Well, Wonyoung and Yoonjun are extremely tall, but I think Nako will have the easiest time no matter what bed she gets in. Yeah.
But girls bring a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that dorm doesn't have room for a lot of stuff.
Well, Sakura has too much stuff.
Poor Sakura. She can't bring her gaming setup to the dorm. So I think this group has... I think we can tie some similarities to what IOI was. The biggest obstacle, I think, is maybe they don't have none of their main vocalists are going to be as strong or as popular as IOI's were.
Yeah.
But the center girls, I think that there's major popularity to be had here. It's hard to say. I think you can draw similarities between some trainees and idols that were in IOI to what we're seeing in IZ*ONE. I think the most obvious one is Chaeyeon to Chungha. I think that they're both extremely talented dancers and both can sing better than people give them credit for. But there's also differences. It's hard to say where they'll end up. I think Somi was probably a better vocalist than Wonyoung is.
Oh, definitely.
But I also think that Wonyoung is probably a better dancer and better visual than Somi was. So we'll kind of see where they end up. I don't know if we should be comparing at this point. So we'll kind of see.
Without anything we
don't even have a debut yet. So I think the last thing to touch on is kind of what success level we'll see for IZ*ONE. And I think this is where the trouble begins. So I think that the entry into Japan is easier, right? Because you're going to have some fan base from AKB, like no matter what, and they're going to be the hardcore fans. So they're going to buy multiple albums. They're like 9, 10 albums, you know. And you always have your hardcore fans who buy tons of albums to get photo cards, meet and greets, and all that. I don't know enough about the Japan market to really make an estimate on where they'll be.
Mm-hmm. How they like advertise their stuff, or
right, and a lot of it depends on, well, you know, what kind of song they have or whatever. But I think in Korea we can kind of draw a similar projection. I think that there's a lot more competition than IOI had when they debuted. Twice has pretty much cornered the market for album sales. I don't mean to offend anyone's fandom, but they do sell more records, like physical copies. And I think that the big three that we're seeing, Twice, Blackpink, and Red Velvet, I don't know if IZ*ONE will be able to reach that level in 2.5 years.
No, I don't think so.
They might be able to creep up into it, into the next tier. Yeah. We'll see.
I feel like they should, you know, like get ahead of like at least Momoland and maybe up to where like Mamamoo and G-Friend and but below them, but I don't know. I think it's hard to say because of how it's small that area of the market is.
I think it's hard. It's hard. It's boy groups just sell more records as a general rule. They have more hardcore fans. The girls love them. So I think that maybe targeting something around the G-Friend level is probably what they should be looking for, at least in their first year. They have a jump start because they're on this popular TV show. So I think Produce gives them a jump start and selling records. We'll kind of see what happens. I think a lot of it is dependent on, 1, the debut song, and 2, the follow-up song. The follow-up song is arguably way more important than your debut song. You need to capture attention with your debut, but your follow-up song needs to knock people's socks off and really get you like performing on music shows consistently. And they're going to be on M Countdown because of Mnet, but I think getting more exposure with the second title track will be important for them. Anything you want to?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I think that pretty much covers it for us. Thanks for watching a Random Act of K-Pop podcast. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe. And if you liked it, you know, hang around and watch for the next episode. We'll be following IZ*ONE through their career, and we'll also be talking about other K-pop groups, current releases, and I'll even be doing some album unboxings because I tend to order way too many K-pop albums. So thanks for watching.